Sahana Vavadu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Veda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye. Om Pathaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayana Swayam Vyasena Grathita Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatva Manusandada Mi Bhagavad Gita Bhavadveshinim Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedai Sangapadakramo Panishadaihi Gayantiyam Samagaha Dhyanavasthita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yoginaha Yasyantanna Vidusura Suraganaha Devai Tasmai Namaha. Please open page 5 of this handout. That side. But they have the handout anyway. I'll recite, you please repeat after me. Mai sarvani karmani Sanyasyadhyatma cetasa Nirashir nirmamo bhutva Yudhyasva vigatajvaraha. This is a very important verse in the 3rd chapter of the Gita, where Lord Krishna describes the Karma Yoga. What are the various aspects involved? While we perform our duties, what are the various aspects involved which make our karma a yoga. So karma is karma, and basically here karma means duty. Although the same spirit can be extended to any kind of action that we do. In the 9th chapter, Lord Krishna says, Yat karoshi, yad ashnasi, yad juhosi, dadasi yat. Yat karoshi, whatever you do, yad ashnasi, what you eat, yad juhosi, what you offer in the fire, dadasi yat, whatever charity you make, yat tapassasi, whatever penance you perform, and whatever else you do. There are two kinds of karmas you can say people perform in their life in the Vedic times. One is a set of karmas or duties that are prescribed by the scriptures, that this is what you should do, by way of daily worship in your life. So the Vedas, Shruti and the Smritis also prescribe various duties which are of the nature of worship. Yesterday we said how we are connected with the whole universe, and based on that connection that every human being has with the rest of the universe. That connection may or may not be clear to us, but based on that connection, the householder, let us say, who is the basic center of the society, there is a brahmachari, there is a vanaprastha, there is a sannyasi. These others, ashramas, the states of life are there, but rest of them are all dependent upon the grihastha or householder. He sustains the whole society. You can say that Upanishad goes to the extent of saying that a grihastha or a householder, by performing his daily duties or rituals, supports the whole universe really. In what sense? There are various ways of looking at what the universe consists of. One way of looking at the world or universe around us is to recognize that there are 5 kinds of living beings in the universe. With whom each one of us is connected. And therefore, typically in the life of a householder, there are 5 yajnas or 5 offerings involved daily, on a daily basis. He makes offerings where he serves these 5 kinds of living beings in the whole universe. One set of living beings are of course our parents and ancestors with whom we are very obviously connected, and whose obligations we have received, and that is how we are what we are. It's very clear, and therefore there are duties to be performed towards the parents and ancestors. That's the kind of yajna, pitru yajna, the offering that I make to my parents and ancestors is the yajna. In a kind of yajna means offering. Other set of living beings who have contribution in my life are, as you said, the sages and the teachers. who have imparted knowledge to me from my childhood. So I have duty towards the teachers and the sages. I say sages because they have given us the storehouse of knowledge, the sage of past and the present. All of them have a contribution in my life. That right now I am able to speak what I am able to speak is because of the knowledge imparted to me by my teachers. Knowledge of English language, knowledge of Sanskrit, knowledge of scriptures, knowledge of language. A lot of knowledge provided to me. And I am grateful, as I said yesterday, I am obliged to them. And when I recognize the obligation, then there is a sense of gratitude in me, and I make offerings. The offerings to the teachers, how do you make offering to teachers? By continuing to learn, retaining what you have learned, not forgetting what you have learned, and continuing to learn in your life. This is the way that we honor the knowledge that we received, and we become a link in continuing the tradition of knowledge. That is the Brahma Yajna, the Yajna that we perform towards the Vedas and to the Rishis, Rishi Runam. Then the Devatas, the sun, the moon, earth, fire, water, all they are called Devatas, they all contribute to my life. It's very clear to us. Making offering to them by way of worship. Those days of Vedic Devatas worship, now we worship these Devatas, the Puranic Devatas. Also obligation to the different other human beings in the society. The farmers, even the maid servant, the postman, everybody contributes something to my life. It's my duty, therefore, to support the needy people in the society. So these are various offerings that a householder makes every day. And of course, my connection with all the other living beings also. With the animals, with the plants, trees, birds, all of them are connected in my life, making offering to them. So thus the life of an individual was looked upon as a process of yajna or offering. You offer different things to different people. Make different offerings to different devatas, like Devi when you perform, then you offer payasam, and so Ganesha you offer modakam, etc. So different devatas make different kinds of offering. So also these different entities, we make different kinds of offering to please them. This is called duty, yajna. Then of course you have to survive, you have to sustain your life, support your family, and so you do other kinds of actions in terms of the professional or they're so part of life. So life it consists of activities from morning till evenings. Every action is called karma. And every karma can become a means of creating happiness for me, as I said yesterday. Every karma can become a means of my inner growth, emotional growth, spiritual growth. And more I grow, happier I become. Happiness is a function of the extent to which I have carried out inner growth in me. To what extent I am emotionally mature, to what extent I am a kind person, a compassionate person, a giving person, an honest person. So the extent to which I cultivate these qualities in me of kindness, compassion, charity, a spirit of sacrifice and offering, a spirit of worship. All of these virtues are there within us, and we have to make an effort to bring to manifestation these virtues. Thus, cultivating these virtues, more virtuous person I am, more kind I am, more compassionate I am, more charitable I am, more loving I am, happier I am. Happiness is the function of these virtues. What we get by the external infrastructure is a comfort. Comfort is one thing, happiness is a different thing. We do require comfort, I'll admit. We need a comfortable house to live, we need to protect ourselves from heat and cold and so forth, so we do need that. But comfort does not necessarily assure happiness, because happiness is a state of mind, and happiness is a function of the extent to which I have cultivated these virtues. It's very simple. There's no big secret involved here. It is our experience that when we go out of way and perform a small act of kindness, of reaching out to somebody, taking initiative to help somebody, that small act of kindness right away creates in me a sense of satisfaction about me. I know within myself that I have done something right, something good. Why do I feel good when I perform an act of kindness? When I extend a small help to somebody, why do I feel good? Because I know that if I was in the position of that other person, this is the kind of treatment that I would have expected. If I was hungry, I would have expected someone to give me food, and I would have been happy. Therefore, when I feed a hungry person, I feel good because I know that if I was in that position, this is what I would have expected to do, or expected from others. Therefore, any act of goodness, kindness, charity invariably creates in me a sense of self-satisfaction, contentment, happiness. So this is a way of becoming happy in life. Because we have said this earlier, that we are all in agreement in how we like to be treated by others. I want you to be kind to me, not cruel to me. I want you to be honest to me, not dishonest to me. I want you to be helpful to me, not hurtful to me. In this, we are all in agreement as to how I should be treated by others. I am quite clear as to how other people should treat me and how they should not treat me. I don't want to be cheated. I don't want to be hurt. I don't want to be insulted. We are all in agreement as far as all this is concerned. We are all in agreement as to how we want to be treated by others. And I should say fortunately, although sometimes it may be unfortunate, but fortunately, we know that other human beings, other living beings also expect the same kind of treatment from me. What I expect from others is what they expect from me. This I know. We are born with that consciousness. But Puja Swami would say, if you are not born the consciousness that I want you to be kind to me, but I did not know that you wanted me to be kind to you, then life would be different, miserable. It would be a manufacturing defect, you would say, But that is not so. That is the reason why when I treat you in a manner contrary to what I expect from you, meaning that if I deliberately lie to you, I cheat you, I insult you, I hurt you, I know within myself that I have done something wrong. And even though outwardly, by that kind of an action, I may get away with some material or worldly benefit, likely. By cheating somebody, by lying to somebody, there may be some immediate worldly benefit. But within myself, I know that I have done something wrong. There is a sense of guilt in me. Because I have done something contrary to what I was expected to do. So this kind of consciousness that each one of us has sets a norm of behavior. Even though there may not be a great training of scriptures, etc. Even people who are illiterate, who have no benefit of any learning, etc., even they also know this. This basic law or rule is known to everybody, and that is what sets the norm of how we should interact with each other. That should be a norm. For life to be systematic, there should be a norm, just as when we are driving on the road, there is a norm of how, on which side of the road we should drive, what are the speed limit and what are the other rules and regulations. Similarly, these rules and regulations determine the norm or the manner in which we will know how to interact with others. So this, what Puja Swami would call common sense dharma. We all know, common sense dharma. Doesn't require a great deal of commandment that you must speak truth, because I know I expect you to speak truth to me, so I should do that. This is called dharma, common sense dharma, or samanya dharma in Sanskrit. So when Lord Krishna uses the word karma here in Bhagavad Gita, that karma generally means what is right in a given situation. based on this common sense norm. And second thing that is important in our life is the concept of duty, the obligatory duty that I have obligation towards my parents and society and the devatas, etc., etc. So karma also means duty. So Lord Krishna says, karmanyevadhikaraste. You adhikara of freedom, a responsibility to perform karma. We are born with responsibility. The human being has been gifted with a free will, meaning the freedom to make choices in every situation. And when there is freedom, there should also be the responsibility that I should make a proper choice. I should make a choice such that I do not trample upon the rights of others. When I drive my vehicle on the road, I have a responsibility that I do not trample upon rights of other drivers, other commuters. And therefore there are rules and regulations. In life also, that I have a responsibility that I should follow the norms of life, that I should not violate the rights and the rights of others, just as I have the freedom and I have the rights, so also other creatures, human beings, other creatures also have freedom and the rights. And just as I want you to respect my rights, so also I should respect your rights. All of this would be included in dharma or karma. Karmanyevadhikaraste, thus this is your responsibility to perform the right action. You can compare that action to, yesterday we used the word script. In a drama or in a play, when the actors perform the roles, they are required to play the role according to script. What the person should speak, what he or she should do, all of this is predetermined, and according to script they should act. In our life, dharma is a script. What is the right thing to do in a given situation is a script, and therefore, karmanyevadik, it is your responsibility to perform karma or duty, meaning that you should act in your life according to dharma, according to script. Thus, we are asked to live a conscientious life. All the time being conscious, being alert about what I am doing. In every situation being alert about what is my role, I am right now a speaker, a teacher. That's my role. You are listeners, that's your role. There are norms as to how a speaker or a teacher should conduct himself or herself. There are norms as to how the listeners also should conduct themselves. There's a script. For every role there is a script and we should follow the script. That's called dharma. Now then, Lord Krishna adds one more dimension. In the verse that we just read, Lord Krishna further says, Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya adhyatma chetasa. To make our life spiritual, perform the duties also is a righteous way of life, a dharmic way of life. So we should be dharmatma, meaning that there should be dharma, righteousness in our life. That is taken for granted. Arjuna is a dharmatma in the sense that Arjuna represents dharma, the righteous way of life. But now we have to go a step further. How to make our life spiritual? Even dharma also is a healthy way of living life, which certainly brings about an inner growth. But a step is now added. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya. Sanyasya means offering. Lord Krishna says, "Hey Arjuna, may you offer your actions to me, to Ishvara." Lord Krishna here talks as Bhagavan or Ishvara. So in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna very rarely talks about as a person Krishna. Mostly Lord Krishna talks as Ishvara, as Bhagavan, as a creator, sustainer, dissolver of the whole universe. So that Bhagavan is saying in front of Arjuna in form of Lord Krishna. This is our Shraddha. Therefore, today, by the way, is the Jayanti or birth anniversary of Adi Shankaracharya. And many of you may have heard about Shankaracharya. To the students of Vedanta, he is most known as Bhashyakara, or the one who has written commentaries on the scriptures. What we call Vedanta is a body of literature consisting of Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita and Brahma Sutra. This threefold literature makes Vedanta. And Adi Shankaracharya is called Bhashyakara. Bhashya means a commentary, Bhashyakara means commentator. Thus, Adi Shankaracharya wrote Bhashya or commentary upon the Upanishads, upon the Bhagavad Gita, upon Brahma Sutra. And that is how he gave us a key, whereas the scriptures, the very secret teaching of the scriptures is open to us. That's how Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya gave us this key. So we are most grateful to Shankaracharya in our life. We are what we are because of him. Because he revived the whole Vedic culture, which was in great decline. And therefore at that time people did not have the benefit of the teaching of the Vedas or the Vedic scriptures. And Shankaracharya was a great teacher. He went around and taught to people, communicated to them what the Upanishads mean, what the Bhagavad Gita teaches. How the Upanishads or Bhagavad Gita are the scriptures which teach us how to live life. There is general belief that all these is meant for retired people. When I used to live in New York for many, many years ago, that time our Puja Swami Chinmayananda used to come to New York every year to deliver his discourses. And I accidentally came to know about one series of discourses. I attended them. At the end, they would give you an envelope and they asked you, would you like to join a study group, etc. And I said yes. So that's how my study began. But this is how the key to all the scriptures is open to us. And our Puja Swamiji, Swami Chinmay used to say, look, Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita are meant for us to live our day-to-day life. They are not meant for only retired people. So the common belief among people was, this is meant for people who have nothing else to do. So who will go to sannyas ashram? Those who are all at the end of their life, So when I joined the study group, I did not declare that I was joining a study group to study Vedanta. Because people will ridicule me. Why are you going at this age? Not meant for young people, meant for retired people. Which is a wrong concept. What's the use of, I respect retired people, etc. It's fine, but then this is meant for living our life. Transform ourselves. And for bringing about transformation requires a certain willpower, a certain strength to do that. Change ourselves. So this is what Shankaracharya brought all this to the people. And the Shankaracharya explains in the introduction to Bhagavad Gita how Lord Krishna is the incarnation of Lord Narayana. That the teacher of Bhagavad Gita is none other than Lord Narayana himself in the form of Lord Krishna. He's called avatar of incarnation. And avatar incarnation means essentially same Lord in this form, who is omniscient, omnipotent. And that is how Lord Krishna used the word I, the pronoun I. Mayi is the seventh case of the word asmat. To me. Sarvani, karmani, sanyasya. Sannyasa is not renouncing, also sannyasa means offering. Offering all our actions to me, to Ishvara. So this is an added dimension to our life. That not only we perform the duties and not only we do what is right to do in a given situation, but we add one more dimension, that what I do is done in the spirit of worship to Ishvara. May the Lord be pleased by my action. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya, offering all actions to me, to Ishvara. Swami, where is Ishvara? How do I perform action? How do I offer actions to Ishvara? Well, that is why we have all these pujas, etc., which is a very simple way of making offering to Ishvara in this form. So when you perform puja, of course we are performing action as an offering to Ishvara. But Swami, when we do perform day-to-day activities, how do I make an offering to Ishvara? So Bhagavad Gita teaches, who is Ishvara, who is Bhagavan? He is the creator of the universe. Bhagavan has created the universe. And a very unique concept of Ishvara in Vedanta in our scriptures is not only has Bhagavan or Ishvara created the universe, but he himself has become the universe. Other traditions teach that Bhagavan is in the heaven, is the Father in heaven, etc., someplace else, who created the world all right, but is separate from the world, sitting there and pulling the strings and controlling things perhaps. That's why people have a lot of problems with Bhagavan, Ishvara. When Ishvara is different from the world, and he creates the world, and lots of questions are there. Why does Swami, Bhagavan create the world like this? Why has he made me like this? Why has he made him like this? Why do I not have what somebody else has? And lots of complaints are there, and there are no satisfactory answers. Answer is Bhagavan. That's what Bhagavan has done. That is his sweet will. And we don't always accept that. But here Vedanta says that not only Bhagavan has created the universe, he himself becomes the universe. Meaning what is in front of me, including myself, is nothing but manifestation of Ishvara. What, Swamiji? Ishvara? Bhagavan is in me? Is in everyone? And therefore we don't have to go too far to serve Ishvara. Whatever we confront at any time is nothing but manifestation of Ishvara. This is how we can remind ourselves. Therefore, when the mother cooks at home for the family, she can perform the simple act of cooking, or she can have this spirit in her mind, this attitude, that I am cooking this food for Bhagavan, for Ishvara, who is in the form of this family. If this is how we understand, and we bring this understanding in our life, in our day-to-day activities, then when I am performing the simple act of speaking to you, if I remember that Ishvara is in front of me in the form of listeners, and that what I do is an offering to Ishvara in that form, then my action will have a different kind of a dimension. Not I'm a speaker and I'm speaking to people who are listening. That is there, of course. But here I can become, in words of Puja Swamiji, how we are at all the times the devotees of Ishvara because he has created us, he has created the world. Each one of us is a devotee of Ishvara because he has created us. And therefore, not only a person is father, but a devotee father. Not only mother, but a devotee mother. A teacher, a devotee teacher. A servant, a devotee servant. A master, a devotee master. Because the bhakta or the devotee is the common feature of all those who are created. Each one of us is a bhakta by virtue of being created and related to Ishvara. So what I should remind myself is, not only I am a speaker or a teacher, but I am a bhakta teacher. Not only I am a listener, but I am a bhakta listener. A bhakta father, a bhakta mother, a bhakta teacher, a bhakta servant, a bhakta master. Thus if I remind, which I am actually, it's not that I become, I already am by virtue of being created by Ishvara. Thus in whatever I do, if I remind myself that I am a bhakta, then as a bhakta I do what I do, then my doing becomes an offering to Ishvara. For example, at home also when you perform puja, that puja is a very beautiful thing to do. But at that time, I directly relate to Bhagavan in the form in which he is in front of me. It's very easy to bring in the spirit of bhakta when I perform the puja. Because Lord Krishna is always smiling. One important thing about in whichever form I am worshipping, all our devatas are smiling. That's one good thing. So Lord Krishna is always smiling, or even Rama, whoever he is. And one good thing about him is that he does not criticize me. He accepts me as I am. When I cook the food and offer to Lord Krishna is an example. It can be any Ishta Devata. He receives it smilingly. He doesn't say, "Hey, Swami, you forgot salt today. It's too spicy today. Too sour." He smiles and gladly accepts whatever I offer. Therefore, I am very comfortable with Ishvara. I know that here is a place where I am accepted as I am. Only say Patihi Parameshwaraha. So Pati is Parameshwara, but that Parameshwara may not be an easy thing to deal with. In both ways it goes. But this Parameshwara has expectations of me and then demands of me, and therefore can be quite accepting or critical. This Parameshwara is in front of me as a Devata, is always accepting me as I am, and therefore I am most comfortable knowing that he is not judging me. So how is bhakta become very comfortable with when we are worshipping? Knowing that I am accepted as I am loved as I am, and therefore I can be my natural self. Normally, otherwise, we are hardly natural. We always have a facade. We always show ourselves as somewhat different from what we really are. Because there is a need that I should be accepted by you, respected by you, therefore I show myself in an acceptable manner. So I will dress in a certain way, I will talk in a certain way, I will behave in a certain way, so that I am accepted by you. Usually there is a facade. Usually there is dambha or pretension. Usually I pretend to be somewhat different from what I really am. I don't expose myself as I am. But when I am sitting in front of Bhagavan, then I am just what I am. A plain, simple devotee. Lord Krishna says, become a devotee all the time. Mani sarvani karmani sanyasya. Slowly. Perform all the actions as an offering to me. Now it becomes offering to Ishvara when I become a devotee. That's all. So how to offer action to Ishvara? By becoming a devotee. Which we are, really speaking, but we have to remind ourselves that I am a devotee, engineer, devotee, doctor, devotee, professional, devotee, X, Y, Z. Devotee father, devotee mother, devotee son. It's possible to be a devotee in every role that I perform. And when I perform an action as a devotee, automatically that action is an offering to Ishvara. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya adhyatma chetasa. With a discriminating mind, what is meant by adhyatma chetasa, chetas means mind, while performing action, reminding myself that I am a devotee, that I am a servant and he is my master, and how a servant naturally makes offering to the master. An ideal servant I am talking about, in the olden days. These days things may be different, but in olden days, a servant always served the master. A servant does what the master likes. Like in our ashram in Ahmedabad, there is a cook who comes every day. When he cooks food in the ashram, he knows what Swamiji likes. What he may do at home is different from what he does in the ashram. At home, when he is cooking, he might take this much amount of chili and this much of salt and dump it there. When he is here, it's quite different. Oh, Swamiji doesn't like this, he doesn't like this, he doesn't want shiva, he doesn't want that. So he becomes very conscious. So he becomes a devotee of the Swami. Then only he can do justice to what he's doing. Thus, when we become a devotee, then we always remind him how Ishvara would like this. Just as our cook is conscious of what the Swami would like. Accordingly, he will cook. Thus, if I remind myself in every situation how Ishvara would like, Swami, I don't know what he likes. He likes me to be honest, he likes me to be truthful, he likes me to be non-violent, he likes me to follow the values. But that's how he is. So when you perform action following the basic values of life, then we are in harmony with His order, we are in harmony with Ishvara. Further, when I perform an action as a devotee, I am further in harmony with Ishvara. So when I am an honest person, truthful person, there is harmony with Ishvara, with the order of dharma. And further, when I remind myself that I am a bhakta, I should do what Ishvara would like me to do. That's when I am in greater tune with Ishvara. Thus, performing every action to develop a tuning with Ishvara. So, remembering Him as best as we understand, doing what He would like me to do, how He would like me to do. That's called Adhyatma Chetasa. Reminding myself that I am a devotee of Ishvara. That I should perform action as Ishvara would like me to perform. It may not be very clear to begin with, but slowly as we commit ourselves to do that, we'll develop that understanding. That is why in the olden days that Guru was a very easier thing to relate. A Guru Shishya. Here is a role model in front of me, and then that's why. So, that is why so much importance to Guru in the Vedic tradition. So call it Guru, that's why Matru Devo Bhava, Pito Devo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava, Atithi Devo Bhava. Mai Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya Adhyatma Chetasa. By Adhyatma Chetasa, what Lord Krishna means that you do it with understanding. In every situation, understanding of what my role is and understanding of how I am a devotee of Ishvara, how to make this action an offering to Ishvara, that's what Adhyatma Chetasa, with that understanding you do. That is because we normally don't do that. That's the reason why there is a need to remind ourselves that, hey, I should perform an action as devotee of Ishvara, Adhyatma Chetasa, with that understanding. This is the secret of Karma Yoga. And then Lord Krishna also puts a few more conditions. Nirashihi nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigatajvaraha. Nirashihi, devoid of any expectation. Asha. Asha means expectation or desire. Perform your duty without expectation of a personal reward. Put it this way. Now, Karma Yoga is normally understood as performing action without expectation. Without consideration of result, but nobody can perform action, nobody should perform action without consideration of outcome. A purpose must be there. Action should be a purposeful action. You perform an action for a certain purpose, for a certain goal, for a certain end in mind. Nobody can perform an action without an end in mind. People think that perform action without consideration of the outcome. No, but you have to keep an outcome in mind. Then Swamiji, what? What is nirashihi? What is my relationship with outcome? So two things Lord Krishna is telling us here. One is, what is my attitude while performing action? That attitude is called offering to Ishvara. So while performing action, the attitude is Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya, offering action to Ishvara. This attitude is a bhakta while performing action. Now when you perform an action, there will be an outcome. Whether you like it, an outcome will be there. So what should my attitude towards the outcome? To a result of the action? Nirashihi. Lord Krishna has performed the action to the best of your ability without the consideration of a personal reward. Not reward, personal reward. What is meant by personal reward, Swamiji? Very often we perform action for ego gratification. You know what is ego gratification? So I get recognition, I get visibility, or some personal gain, some wealth, name, fame, etc. So naturally, I want to be benefited when performing an action. That is a personal benefit or a personal reward. Usually perform action for gaining a certain personal reward. That is why very often we are disappointed. Wonderful lunch has been cooked, 15 items are cooked, there may be more than 15. Swamiji, whatever number of vegetables are available, all of them are cooked. Every kind of paratha is made, every kind of chutney, all kinds of things are made. Wonderful action. After doing this and feeding also the guests, that can be disappointment. Swamiji, I worked so hard and nobody even said a word of appreciation. They don't value. So this is a base, some expectation is there that people should show some appreciation. Some recognition I require, some encouragement I require, some appreciation I require. Is it not so? That's called asha. Then expectation. Lord Krishna is nirashihi, without that kind of expectation. Not that, see, when you perform an action, there is a result going, outcome will going to come. And I am performing action for a given outcome also, not purposeless action. Then what is Karma Yoga? Karma Yoga is that I do not expect a personal reward from the outcome. It's self-gratification. Self-gratification means that I seek gratification as a result of, as I say, some appreciation, some recognition, some other material award, result or outcome. Without that, I do not seek any recognition, I do not seek any personal reward, I do not seek any ego gratification, I do not seek sense gratification, I do not seek self-gratification. This is a big thing, Because seeking gratification is built into us. And it is by default that we expect. How do we know that there was an expectation when? How do I know that I perform action with an expectation? The outcome will tell me. If I am disappointed, then there was an appointment, there was an expectation. If when the outcome or result comes, if I react to the result with elation or depression, I am happy because the result came, unhappy because the outcome came, that means that there was an expectation. Harsha and shoka. Harsha, elation. Shoka, depression. Usually, as a result of performing an action, when the result comes, either we react with elation or disappointment. That means that whether I am happy or unhappy is determined by the outcome of the action. And therefore, while doing something, there is always a tension whether the outcome will be favorable or not. So the stress in performing action is not so much in action. The stresses that we have, action itself may create some stress in terms of planning and organizing, and I'm sure there's some creative stress involved there. And that is to be expected. But the stress that creates unhappiness is a stress of expecting a certain desirable outcome. Because my sense of happiness depends upon a certain outcome. What if the outcome is not favorable, then I become unhappy. Therefore, the anxiety of a favorable outcome is what creates stresses. Since I have become dependent upon the outcome for my happiness. What is important to me is my happiness. But because my happiness depends upon a favorable outcome, therefore it causes anxiety whether, when I perform an action, whether the outcome will be favorable or not. Swami, how is the food today? I have not tasted anything. So there is a question, I understand that, you want, of course, that one for whom you cook should be happy. But if my happiness depends upon the outcome, there is always going to be anxiety. This is all by default, by the way, that we are like that. Lord Krishna wants us to recognize this natural tendency in us. And because it's that tendency which is the cause of our unhappiness, therefore wants us to become free from that. Usually our happiness is postponed for the outcome. The favorable outcome that makes me happy, unfavorable outcome makes me unhappy, that means my happiness is postponed for the outcome. Lord Krishna says no. This tendency by default of expectation, you recognize and give up. Nirashi. Do not postpone your happiness for the outcome of the action. Then what's the purpose of performing action? If there is no happiness, how can anybody perform the action? If I do not depend upon the outcome for my happiness, what is the purpose? How can anybody perform action without expectation of happiness? Is it possible to gain happiness if I am indifferent to outcome? Yes. Lord Krishna says, learn to enjoy your action. Do not postpone your happiness or enjoyment for the outcome, but may you learn to enjoy the very process. There is a process and there is an outcome. This is a very important lesson that Lord Krishna gives us. Karmanyavadikaraste. In karma alone may you find your fulfillment. Ma phaleshu kadachana. Don't wait for the outcome for gaining fulfillment. Let karma, effort itself, become the source of your fulfillment. How can I enjoy action, Swamiji? In doing things, how can there be enjoyment? Yes. Let every action be a creative action. Let every action be a creation. But every day I do the same thing, Swamiji. Same I cook and same I clean the house and same thing I do every day. Not the same thing. It is a different action every day, is it not so? Every day you sweep the floor, it's a new thing. Every day you do the vacuum, new thing. Cook, a new thing. In the office also, it's a new thing. Why do we say I do the same thing? Why not every action it be taken as something new, as an opportunity to enjoy what I do? How can I enjoy Swamiji cooking? How can I enjoy vacuum cleaning? How can I enjoy this? You can enjoy. As children we were looking forward to this, when they brought as a toy, vacuum cleaner and my tricycle, how I enjoyed those things. Later on it became routine. When the bicycle first came, I was so enthusiastic. Mom, when I get milk, when I get this, that, you want to run around with a bike. Then it becomes a routine. Then, I don't want to go. It is possible to enjoy every action if we put our heart to that. We don't have to postpone our happiness to the outcome. Let process or perform the action. May that itself become the source of your satisfaction. Make it a creative process. It need not be a routine action. Swami is monotonous. It need not be monotonous. Every day cooking, Swami, what is the big deal? Every day it's a different thing. Make that action an expression of yourself, your creativity, your art, whatever you have, make it an expression. An action can be made an expression of what you are. Nirashihi. We can become free from the expectation of a reward when we gain that same reward from performing action. Nirashihi. Nirmamo bhutva. Nirmamaha. This is mine. This doesn't belong to you. This is a very big lesson Lord Krishna gives. Nothing belongs to me, really. Why, Swami? I did this. I performed the action. And this is my reward. How did you perform the action? Well, my skills are there. I employed my skills, my abilities, my hard work. Were you born with these skills? No, Swamiji, that I acquired. That means that skills are given to me. The ability to perform hard work is all given to me, is it not so? When I was born without any of the knowledge and any of the understanding, any of the skills, and it's all given to me. I acquired, or either I acquired or they were given to me. Either way, is it not so? So one way of looking at our life is whatever we think belongs to us is all given to us. It's not, even this body, our Puja Swami always used to say, the body is given to us. The faculty of seeing, hearing, thinking, talking, walking, all given to us, is it not so? We have not created them. The mother has given the body, mother has not created, she is an instrument. The Creator has given us, is it not so? Meaning that everything that I possess in terms of my knowledge, in terms of my skill, the Ichha Shakti is given to us, Kriya Shakti is given to us, Jnana Shakti is given to us, the power to know, the power to learn, the power to will, the power to act, all given to us. And therefore, whatever is created by this power is given, doesn't belong to me, it belongs to the one who has given me those powers. Is it not so? Therefore, there is no such thing as mama, mine. Nirmamo bhutva. Lord Krishna says that give up this notion of mine. Nothing belongs to you. It's all given to you. You are instrument in doing things. Later Lord Krishna will say, Nimitta matram bhavasavyasachin. Here Arjuna become nimitta, become an instrument in my hand, which is what you are. And what an instrument does doesn't belong to instrument, belongs to the one who uses the instrument. When a singer sings or when a musician plays on this instrument, all the clapping appreciation comes to a musician, not to that instrument. So we are all instruments. Nirmamo bhutva. Recognize that everything belongs to Ishvara, nothing belongs to me. This was Mahatma Gandhi said the principle of trusteeship. You are a trustee, not an owner. Just as this temple, I am a trustee, and there what comes, no, I am a manager of the income, not an owner of what comes here. Ideally speaking, therefore, in life also we are trustees of this is all given to us in trust. The body is given to us, the mind is given to us, sense organs are given to us, knowledge is given to us. It's all given to us. Ishvara is given to us in trust. Nirmamo bhutva, very high, noble principles. But then we have to slowly grow into these things. Yudhyasva vigata jvaraha. This is given to Arjuna, that when you fight without vigata jvaraha. So, without, here is a jvara means complaint, that's how the translation is. Jvara also means fever. Jvara also means the stress is in the mind, means anxieties of the mind. Perform actions without anxieties. Arjuna, whether he did or not, but one can become very anxious. Also, Arjuna had his own problem of guilt. Arjuna thought that he would become the killer of all these people. He said in the first chapter itself of the Gita, how sad it is that we, on account of greed for power and happiness, we are now ready to kill our near and dear ones. How sad it is. He had a sense of guilt. Vigata jvara. Without guilt or hurt may you perform your action. While performing action, have no guilt, have no hurt, become free from that. Very important lessons in management. This one verse, this whole chapter, Karma Yoga, is a great lesson also in self-management. So in this verse, Lord Krishna gives various dimensions of what Karma Yoga is and how we can slowly grow into what Lord Krishna describes as an ideal Karma Yogi. This thing is not easy to do because by default we have things that are quite contrary to this. That's the reason why we are told to do this. Because by default we are born with mamakara, with own sense of ownership, with self-centeredness, etc. We are born with that. All result of ignorance. Ignorance in our life results manifest as self-centeredness, as insecurity, as sense of ownership, as anxieties. How do we become free from ignorance? By reversing this whole thing. So, by deliberately adopting these attitudes and understanding, we want to reverse the influence of ignorance in our life. And thus, go back to our source, which is what we are, going to the source, that's our true nature. So in this verse, this 30th verse, Lord Krishna thus teaches us what Karma Yoga is. Okay, we'll take a break here this evening. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.